Mr. Makopo, I have to stop you there.
Yes.
Looking at the course of time, I want to take some questions coming in from our listeners because they'll then complain because we're doing this show for them. You
Yes.
say, the show came to an end, we didn't get some of our questions across.
Yes.
But then after that, given these questions, only 5 questions, from
Yes.
then I'll give you that platform. Just want to take these questions from our listeners. It is definitely 12 minutes. Make that 11 minutes before the hour 9 o'clock, and we'll be giving this hot seat to Dire Masenya. Now, we've got questions coming in from our listeners. Number 1 is coming from Austin Maluleko, who's coming in from Sosha Nguve Block M. It says, now, how did someone who was once homeless have such an achievement? I am so impressed. Please tell us your secret.
The secret is only one. Be the epitome of not giving up against all odds. The second thing is, don't let the systems of this world to validate your existence.
Oh, yes.
Yes, to say, okay, just because you are a homeless person, you don't have formal education, you cannot make it.
You cannot make it.
You cannot make it. That's. I think those were my secrets. And the other thing, I just said, you know what? I need to flip the script around, upside down, and rewrite this narrative or debunk this myth. That one need to be this or coming from. And then that's and I did not want to let those things to limit me.
I love
that's the first secret.
I love that. There's a Mr. Mishak Rentani. I always have him on my show. He's my political commentator.
Yes.
I always quote him. He says there was a quote. He said, history will be very nice, to me because I'll be the one writing it.
Yes.
So I take from there. Now, second question comes in from Fortunate Moyo, who's coming in from Pretoria CBD. She is then saying, in this disappointing economy of ours, how do we then even create sustainable jobs?
Oh, what a beautiful question. It's just that we're running out of time. Right now, as you see, as much as we can try to create jobs, we're bleeding more jobs as the economy. Our economy now, it defeats the whole purpose. But I think we can only create sustainable jobs through small businesses. There are economies in the world that are so strong that do not rely in government. So now we cannot afford as South Africans to allow government to be the biggest employer. We can only create sustainable businesses, sustainable or create jobs through small businesses. Small businesses, I think, are so central.
The backbone of this economy.
The backbone of this economy. But it's quite unfortunate. It's just that we don't have time. There are a lot of things that South Africa, for us to be able to create those jobs legislatively, so they need to relax. Some, of course, somehow they are a red tape. Yes, it's quite expensive, very intimidating, such a difficult thing to have an employee in South Africa. And now, because now you will be trying to run this business, and then somehow I know it's so inevitable, so much unavoidable, and so much natural. There's no way you can run a business without having problems.
True.
But I think our labor legislation and other things, they just need to be relaxed. Yes, and that's what I can say. But we cannot afford to have economy whereby 18 million people rely on grants.
True. Oh, sad.
Yes.
And now the third one coming in from Katlego Malepa from Pelindaba. It says, now how can one start building definitely an inclusive environment around themselves? How do they uplift themselves to that standard?
Yeah. Number one, it's quite easy. What I did, which was part of my strategy, was the moment I get started, and what I did, I made sure that I built an ecosystem of great people. Yeah. What I do is I learned from these people, and somehow you don't stop. What you do, you don't stop. What you do is, once you start, and then you don't stop learning. But the most important thing, because you may not have that social capital, you may not have all these kind of things, for you to be able to build from scratch with zero. Now I think we are quite sizable. We've got, we managed to build a multi-millionaire group of companies because of other people. I think what I can say to encourage them is for them to build to this far. you really need to build an ecosystem of great people. Once you have those relationships, then you monetize them, you commercialize them, and then out of them, then you will realize something.
And the second before last, Jimmy Malapile from Soshanguve Block VV says, I am someone who is from a very strict family, and the parents want to control each and everything that I do, but I want to follow my passion of being an entrepreneur. How do I convince them to leave me alone instead support me?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing. Somehow our parents, they feel like myself now, I'm trying to build, and there will be a day when, I'm not saying being a DJ is a bad thing, but I will be hoping that my sons will step into my shoes.
True.
But now, what if they choose to be a soccer player? And then he can say, no, this is my passion. I want to follow my passion. I want to become a DJ or anything. You cannot choose for them. You just let them become what they want to be. That's what I can say to the parents. Yeah, you let your kid be what he can be, and they will, whatever that they excel. Because the only way, the other thing to, the other thing for you to survive is to actually do what you love.
True.
What you do have the passion the most. Otherwise, you will be this dysfunctional person, and you're just doing it for economic reason.
True.
So let your kids study, do whatever that they want to do. If they want to journey this path of being an entrepreneur, let them do so.
Yeah. And the last question for this evening, Jack Manamela from Soshanguve Block LVV says, how can I commit to one profession and only that one, because I keep on changing one after another? How can I make myself stick to one profession?
There's one thing that I've learned when I was reading these books. It's called the hedgehog concept. And somehow the author was giving example of the hedgehog and the fox. And then he was saying every time when they fight, the fox jumps around and apply a lot of tactics, but it doesn't master any of those tactics. And the hedgehog does one thing, and it's best in the world at doing that thing. And I think I've learned also from me to jump around, going into different things. Because in the book that I told you about, they talk about undisciplined pursuit of more.
Same author?
Yeah, same author, which was actually a demise of a lot of companies. You find that this company jumps around, it's in this industry, in that industry, even if it's in one industry, what they do, when one product is still on developmental cycle and then they launch another product, So now I think it's better to focus on one thing and one thing alone. And then it's only, I'm not saying to diversify, it's a wrong thing. But only do it when you know that now the first one, you were able to get it off the ground and it's commercially viable before you can move to the next thing. People, they move to the next thing and jump to the next thing, And then a decade later, it's nothing tangible they've built.